Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to GSU ENI Radio. Stone Peyton Lee Cantor here with you, broadcasting live from the Georgia State Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute. Lee, this is going to be a fantastic segment. We got three folks with us, but first up, please join me in welcoming to the broadcast Miss Alison Mercer. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
No, we're excited to learn about what you guys are up to. What's your role here at GSU, Alison?
I'm the Director of Annual Programs.
Annual program sounds like a big job.
It is. If you consider asking people for money a big job, that's what we do.
You're the folks that are asking the people. Everything starts with you, right?
That's right.
It's up to you to kind of raise the funds that the university needs to do its work.
Yes, all the private support comes from the development staff. So when you get those phone calls from the students and asking for donations, that's our department.
So now how'd you get into this kind of role?
I was a student caller myself.
Oh, really? You started out doing that?
Yes, I did.
So what's the pitch like when you're going to an alumni, I guess, is probably some of the calls, right? Alumni, business owners sometimes. Like, what's the pitch for an alumni business owner to kind of participate?
Well, it's to support their alma mater, to give back, to when they participate, the value of their degree goes up because the rankings go up. And it's really just to support anything that they believe in at the university. So student scholarships and just the programmatic support that we need to keep going.
So now, since you've been doing this, have you seen, is it getting easier in terms of, is the money flowing more because of the success from Georgia State?
I would say Georgia State in the headlines has definitely made it easier.
So now we're here to talk about Georgia State Day. Now, what exactly is that?
Well, Georgia State Day is the university's giving campaign. It'll span over 1 day, 9 hours, and 13 minutes for our founding year of 1913. And it's starting on Tuesday, March 31st at 10 a.m. It'll last until 7:13 p.m. the next day, which is also 1913 p.m. And it was established to encourage philanthropic support across the university. Each participating unit, including ENI this year, will have selected programs and initiatives which will foster innovation and create new opportunities for our students to succeed. So it's really a couple of days out of the year that we're asking the GSU Panther community to come together as supporters of and advocates for what they care about most at Georgia State.
So now all of the kind of constituents or departments are putting an effort for that day to focus in on this?
Yes, we have every college and some units participating, and ENI is one of them that is supporting this cause and that we're asking people to give back to.
And then the event spans beyond just those constituents, also there's a student event as well?
There's a student event on March 31st. It's from 11 to 1, and it's going to be at the Student Center. And we're going to have Pounce there. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have King of Pops. So the students will be able to receive a complimentary King of Pops if they write a thank you note to a donor, or if they share on social media that they're getting the word out there about Georgia State Day.
So you're not asking them for money necessarily. You're asking them for time and effort to help promote the event.
That's correct. If they would like to give back, then we would definitely take that.
You're not saying no.
Yeah, we're not saying no, but we're mostly asking them to celebrate the day.
So now, are there any other ways throughout the year that the community, GSU community, can get involved?
Absolutely. So we have, this is our main event, but we have our President's Society receptions in the fall. We have 40 Under 40 through the Alumni Association.
So there's stuff happening throughout the year.
There's stuff happening throughout the year.
Is that in your department? Is that what you're kind of focused in, making this kind of calendar of different things in different ways that the community can participate?
I would say not my department specifically, but the Development and Alumni Affairs Division. Yes, that's what we do.
And then you're helping execute whatever is decided?
Yes, we're mainly tasked with raising annual support throughout the year, but we have a donor relations team. They put on events and they steward our donors. And then we also have our Alumni Association and Affairs Department, and they put on a lot of events, third Thursdays, trying to get the alumni community involved.
Now, can anybody else in the room speak about just the value of giving? Anything that you want to say about that?
Yeah. So, I am an alum and then I'm also a staff member here. And so I think for me, when thinking about how we articulate the value of giving, as students, individuals are supporting the institution with the tuition and the investment they're making there. As an alumni, you have the opportunity to give back and invest in the things happening at Georgia State today. Mm-hmm. So for instance, right, I was a student here in 2009. And if you had told me Georgia State would be the second most innovative university in the U.S., I don't know that I would have believed you, right? Like, we were a powerful Research One institution in the city of Atlanta, but weren't all that well known. And a lot of the things that we're able to do in the student success side, which is where I work, is because of donor support. And so I think helping people understand that food insecurity is an issue on campus. We have students struggling with housing, and investment in education hasn't been a priority necessarily at the state or federal level, which means if we look pre-2008, funding for higher education has stagnated or decreased. Mm-hmm. And so we only have the resources we have, and we don't want to put that on the backs of students. So alumni and corporations and foundations and others coming together to support the work of Georgia State really helps us do the things that we are doing to support student success and really changing higher education nationally.
But from a business standpoint, business people aren't usually in the charity business. There has to be value for them as a business for it to make financial sense to invest in this kind of a cause. How do you kind of articulate the what's in it for them when it comes to a business that, say, doesn't have a GSU alumni associated with it, but maybe is downtown, maybe is in the area, maybe leverages some of the resources here? How do you kind of explain that value?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the development team could probably share better.
Right. Michael, jump in there.
Yeah, I think it's, Georgia State has over 50,000 students, so that's 50,000 prospective employees.
Right, or customers.
Right. Or just showing that support of the university, I think, is a great opportunity to capture that audience and do some good at the same time.
Now, are you seeing the business community open to having these conversations to discuss ways to serve and to help, GSU fulfill their mission?
Absolutely. So if you look at a pie chart of all of our donors, the majority of our donors are from corporations and foundations. And so with Georgia State Day, we're trying to leverage that individual support from alumni, parents, friends, and even students, as we talked about before. But really, the largest amount of our donations and revenue come from corporations and foundations. So they're fully behind us. They're fully behind the work that Tim Rennick's doing in his office with student success and what the president is doing and striving for.
Now, is there anything that happens during kind of the year, or like what is an activity that occurs in your world that you say, oh, that I have to kind of steward up to some of these donors because this could help them maybe give more? Like, what kind of things do you like to see the students doing or accomplishing, or the university accomplishing, that helps you?
Well, I think the other night you guys had a demo day, right? And so that was really amazing. And I think that's been I've seen it on LinkedIn all over the place. And so just seeing our students do amazing things, it's being talked about by the development officers to their constituents and to their alumni. And so just really rallying up the support of what our students are doing. I think that's really the best thing that we can do. Because that
illustrates it in not some hypothetical manner. This is kind of real. You're seeing a room full of students cheering and a bunch of investors in the Atlanta startup community actually spending their time and actually there. Absolutely. Participating. So photos of that and that kind of stuff helps you do your jobs.
Absolutely.
And it kind of speaks to the mission of innovation and entrepreneurship, which is at the heart of GSU.
I couldn't have said it better.
Absolutely.
So now, has anything happened in your time doing this kind of work where you're like, man, that was an amazing thing? Any success story, or maybe a generous gift or something out of the blue that surprised you and kind of left a mark?
Do you want to take this one, Ben? Because you've been He's our superstar. So he's our alum and our staff member, but also he's been an ambassador for Giving Day and spreading the message and really getting more people to support the university in general through the Alumni Association and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the things that stand out for me, and I have the benefit of being a staff member, but also a donor. And so when I'm at the President's Society reception or other things, right, you get to see the people who are coming together to support Georgia State students. And so for me, I get to see that impact in my day-to-day work. For instance, a student who works with me, they're a recipient of a scholarship that's given out through the Division of Student Success to support some of the life challenges that they're facing at this time. And so them being able to stay here and to continue to pursue their passion, that is the day-to-day thing that I get to see from where I sit in a student-facing role to show the impact of giving and to show how we're truly changing students' lives because of the philanthropic support that exists here. I think when we look at Georgia State Stadium, for instance, and the work and the incredible transformation of that wouldn't have been possible without people coming together and supporting us. There are so many programs and opportunities on this campus that donor investment in, with both their time and their talent and their financial resources, because that is an important part of it, right? When I graduated from Georgia State, I gave $20 because that's what I could afford as a broke graduate student living in Ohio. But as time progresses, you're able to give back more. And I think that's really the argument for Georgia State Day, which last year raised over $500,000. Right. So in that period of time, Georgia State alumni came together along with others and supporters to provide challenge gifts to say, if you give to this, I'll match your gift. Right. And we raised over $500,000. And if you look at the capital campaign that completed a little over a year and a half ago, right, we raised a significant amount of money that's changed what we're able to do to support students. And so for me, it's all of those things adding together are the impact and the power of something like Georgia State Day and supporting Georgia State.
And what's the goal for this year's Georgia State Day?
So this year we're challenging 1,913 donors to give back.
So it's you would like more people giving back rather than a target dollar amount you're looking to raise?
Yes. Participation is really what we strive for because we know that a lot of our younger alums particularly don't necessarily have the resources to make those big gifts, which is why we've lined up quite a few challenges to increase that impact. But we really want to show demonstrate the benefit of collective support and collective giving, because that just down the road helps us so much more, having more people invested in what we're doing.
Now, what's the most rewarding part of the job?
I would say seeing the students succeed. So being able to offer them a scholarship, being able to see them graduate at higher rates, and really just the impact that we have on the students.
Now, one of the things Georgia State is known for, not just here in the metro area, but nationally, I believe, is this ability to help students that maybe aren't historically had success and maybe dropped out, that there's programs in place that help keep them engaged and help them get over maybe some rough spots. Can you speak about that? Because I would imagine some of these scholarships are funding some of that work to help people actually graduate and not just get into college, but actually finish college, which is kind of the goal, right?
Yeah. And so, there's incredible opportunities all across the university to match passion with support of students. And so a lot of the things that have happened, so Dr. Tim Reddick is our Senior Vice President of Student Success. And about 8 years ago at this point, an idea came up to create this Panther Retention Grant because we looked at data and saw that there were a significant number of students who in their last year or last semester weren't finishing because they had a $400, $500, $1,200 gap. And so the Panther Retention Grant, which was funded by an initial, I believe, $50,000 gift by our president, Dr. Mark Becker, created this game-changing program that's actually now been rolled out at several other institutions like Ohio State, places that have national recognition in the same way that we do now. And that program, by donors investing in that or any of our programs, then allows students to finish because we don't want as an institution to be a roadblock to their success. If you look at what we've done in student success, it all boils down to taking a look in the mirror and saying, how are we the problem? and what can we do to fix that? And a lot of the things that we've decided to do to fix it, we've funded institutionally as we can, but then we rely on donors, corporations, and foundations to come and help us. And so, State Farm has been a very generous supporter of a program out at Perimeter College where we've been able to support students succeeding and transitioning to the Atlanta campus or transferring other places at rates that just weren't possible pre our consolidation with Georgia Perimeter College. And so I could go on and on because there's so much that we're doing, which is in a lot of ways made possible by Georgia State Day, the work of our team in development and alumni affairs, and those kind of things are what's made us a great institution, but has also made us someone who's driving success for students who aren't succeeding or don't nationally succeed. When we started to diversify as an institution, everyone would tell you that we should have seen our graduation rate go down because we became more diverse. We were no longer a predominantly white institution. We were serving low income, Pell eligible students
and first time college.
Yes. And first gen students who nationally don't succeed at the same levels. And we were growing that population, and our graduation rate was growing by 20%. And so we've been able to say students matter and partner with corporations, alumni, others to say, this is how we're going to support them.
And then the success isn't like a little incremental success. It's been like a dramatic success.
Yes. Over the last 3 years alone at Perimeter College, which is our 2-year degree granting academic college, we've seen the graduation rate triple. And so Georgia State has also increased its graduation rate on the Atlanta campus significantly over the past 10 years at a time where our graduation rate should have been going down.
And that's where when someone donates and helps, it's making a real impact on students. It's not, again, I feel good, I did this, check the box, I feel good about myself, I threw some money at this. This is something that when you're helping these kind of students, you're helping them, maybe their first person in the family to graduate. You're making an impact not only on that individual, but you're making an impact on their family, the community. It's a ripple effect that just can't be denied. So this kind of work is extremely important to be funding.
Absolutely.
So now, so there's Georgia State Day. It's on the 31st. You mentioned there's several other ways to contribute and to get involved. Is there anything you would like to say that for the people listening today, what could they be doing more of to help you?
Well, the event itself lives primarily online. So we rely heavily on our digital ambassadors to promote Georgia State Day through social media and those avenues. So by going to thestateday.gsu.edu, they can sign up as an ambassador, get all the information about what's happening, and really what they can do to ultimately give back, but also to spread the word for us.
So that's the first thing for students to go to find out, the time and day to get their free popsicles. That's important.
Yes.
So, but there's ways there on that same page for business owners or alumni that want to kind of help and move the needle for the university. There's ways there they can contribute as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying again, thestateday.gsu.edu.
Thestateday.gsu.edu.
And if anyone really wants to take that challenge up, they could do a challenge gift, and they could reach out to Michael and Allison and issue a challenge and say, I'm going to commit $500 and try to get 5 friends to give $10 to help them meet that goal. And there's lots of great opportunities. So I wanted to plug that as well.
So now, is there like kind of a template for a challenge on the page?
It varies. So basically they would have to reach out to us. So if they want to make a gift, like Ben said, that we're looking for at least $1,000, and that we can set it up either dollar for dollar match, or we can do a participation challenge. So get a certain amount of donors and they would match the gift.
Okay. So you can help them kind of facilitate that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, thank you all for sharing your story today. You're doing important work for the university and the community.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Then one more time before we wrap, the website.
thestateday.gsu.edu.
All right. Well, thank you for being part of the show today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. This is Lee Cantor for Stone Payton. We'll see you in a few minutes with GSU E&I Radio.